Yes.
Welcome everybody to another session with Creating Wealth Through Property. Today we have a wonderful lady here called Marissa Punchin, and she is a money coach. So basically the first step for you to getting your way into the property market and onto the property ladder. If you need the finances and need to get the money ready to get in there, Marissa is going to be a great resource for you to listen to and to contact later on. Now, just before I bring Marissa on, I just have a bit of a secret between you and I. I love Marissa's code name. It is Miss Moneypenny. And I wanted to come here today dressed in a tuxedo and bow tie, but frankly, I didn't think I could pull it off. So, okay, welcome Marissa, and thank you for coming along today.
Thank you so much for having me, Craig. I nearly called you James.
Oh, I'll respond to that one, absolutely.
Bond.
What is it, a little PP42 or something? Who knows?
I don't know.
No. So tell me, Marissa, tell me a bit about what can you bring to the party? Creating Wealth Through Property is, our people are full of people who want to get onto the property market. Some of them have a few challenges, having struggle getting their savings program together, having trouble getting the deposit together. Are you able to help these people out in any way?
I definitely can, Craig, and I find that you've really nailed it there. That we all have our dreams and our goals, yet it's actually the work that has to be done in order to get to that point where you can then put things in place in order to accelerate your wealth. For example, get to a point where you've got enough money to work with someone like you. And most people sit there and say, oh, I must do it, and they don't do it. Then they get older, and then they find that, they start stressing that they haven't got enough time.
Do they have enough time? If they're older, do they have enough time?
I don't know. Look, a lot of that depends on their financial circumstances. I think it's we're all different. We all have different goals. Like some people's goals might be to retire at the age of 55 and spend their life sailing around the Greek islands. Other people might think, well, hey, I'm quite happy retiring at 65, just as long as I know I've got my house paid off and I can hop in the caravan and head up to, I don't know, Yarrawonga or wherever. Like we all have a different idea of what our goals and our dreams are. So it's really a matter of looking at really identifying what you want and seeing what is realistic for you at your age as well.
I'm a bit confused. You're sounding a bit like a life coach, but you're talking about money. How does that work?
Okay, well, they go hand in hand, and I suppose that one of the differences I have when I, with my approach to working with people is that I do have life coaching qualifications, and I also have a diploma of accounting, and I have quite a lot of experience working in financial software. So I do a lot of mindset work with people, but then to help them realise what they want, and then to have the strategies to achieve that, I then teach them using specific software and helping them understand their finances as well. So the two of them go really closely hand in hand. Like you could go and see a financial advisor or an accountant and say, well, I want to retire. And they'll say, well, when? Oh, I don't know. Well, what kind of lifestyle do you want? Well, I don't know. What makes you happy? I haven't thought about that. But at the same time, you could say, I want to retire at 65 and sail around the Greek islands, and then just sit there trying to manifest it. And you know what? It ain't going to happen. You've got to put some sort of strategy in place. So they do work. They work hand in hand.
So you mentioned software. So you work with people, software, and accounting and finances. So this
Yes.
software, what's
Yes.
that all about? How does that fit into a life plan?
Okay. Well, the software I'm specifically referring to at this point is called My Prosperity, and it's an online wealth portal. Probably the best way of explaining it is if people are familiar with Xero, it's like the personal finance. It's like the personal brother or sister of Xero. So you're able to start connecting up your mortgage, your bank accounts, your credit card accounts, your shares, property investments, all of the rest of it. So you actually get real time and accurate figures of exactly where you are. So you can have a look, plug everything in, start looking at, right, well, okay, if we need to pay down our debt, what's our debt, what's it costing us? If we then pay more off, or set up a plan, so if we put X amount away per week, then we know within 2 years that will be paid. Or if we put money towards this in this account or in this investment, then that will be worth this much in a certain amount of time. So you're actually able to put everything, collaborate everything in one spot and have a true accurate picture of where you stand. And a lot of the issues people have is that they've got things everywhere and they go, I don't know, I've got bank accounts, we've got shares, we've got property, we've got this, we've got this. But if you have everything together, you have a snapshot of your true financial wealth at that particular point. And then you can say, well, okay, in 10 years' time, we want to be here. So what do we therefore have to do in order to achieve this? So
Well,
that's where I use My Prosperity. But yes.
I wish my accountant would do that for me. I really do. My accountant, he does all the tax stuff and everything perfectly, but it's the visual side and putting everything together so that it's comprehensible. That, for me, is quite satisfying, so that I know, oh yes, I was here a month ago, I was there 6 months ago, and now I'm moving up the tree. So yeah, I've had to actually implement spreadsheets to do all that. So there's an actual program out there that does it. Wonderful. That's great to know.
There is a program out there that does it, and what I love about it is if you've got property, you can actually put in the address of your property. It feeds through and gets the actual price or the actual value of your property today.
Oh, I'm just going to put
and your car as well.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to put in a little segue there for my Creating Wealth Through Property people. What price it fits into it is going to be the price that normal people will get, not our Creating Wealth Through Property people. We get much better prices because we know what we're doing, and we've done what you told us to do before: get educated, understand, and put the building blocks in place. So it'd be a nice guide for us on that one, but we do things better. So, excellent.
Yes.
Sorry, a bit proud on that one.
Yes. Look, and I think, Craig, it's a matter of horses for courses, really. So there are a lot of people that are not really at that point to see someone like you. So they've got to do a bit of groundwork in the meantime, and then they get to the point and they think, great, okay, we're now ready to go to that next level. And that's when they see someone like you and get your financial advice and knowledge that they would not normally have, because they'd be stuck back in the old, robbing Peter to pay Paul, trying to scrape together money for bills, not paying the mortgage. Look, and I suppose that, I work with business owners. So when I talk about the personal side of people's finances, I'm not saying that, that there's going to be that guaranteed wage that comes in every time for an employee as such. But when you're a business owner, your personal and your business money it seems to just coagulate into this big mess sometimes, and people are robbing Peter to pay Paul. So my whole analogy is, we're in business for a specific reason. Most people are in business to grow their wealth and to have that lifestyle that they want. So what do you need in order to achieve your personal financial freedom? And therefore, what does your business need to pay you as a wage for you to do that?
Does
So
I think it's great that you're talking about
yes.
businesses. I really do, because a lot of our people are
Mm-hmm.
business owners as well. So they're out there, they're making things happen, but sometimes things don't happen as fast as what we want them to. So this works.
Mm-hmm.
Has this got some sort of an increased cash flow for business owners?
Look, with My Prosperity, you can actually look. The whole idea with that is to work out how much money you need to come into your personal bank account in order for you to achieve your goals. So you say, right, I need to bring in $1,500 a week, for example, and that covers all my living expenses and helps me grow my wealth, invest, pay down debt, whatever you want to do. So then we go to the other side and we say, well, okay, then your business has to give you $1,500 a week. Is that possible? And if it is, great, good. So then you don't have to keep on taking money out of the business in order to fund other things, because you know you've already got your goals and your vision set of the path you want to take. So you're very clear, no, this is what I need and this is how I'm going to invest and get my personal finances sorted. Now, unfortunately, a lot of business owners say, oh God, I need, you know, 1,500, 2,500, whatever, in order to survive and grow my wealth. I don't have that. My business isn't giving me that amount of money. So that's when we look at, is it possible for your business to do that? And then I look at helping them unlock their cash flow, because quite often businesses have got, it's an amazing business, but it's where it's the cash flow that actually stops business owners from paying themselves.
Absolutely, it is.
And
I've been in business now
yeah.
since 1994 myself, and yes, it is the cash flow that's the key. You've always got to have that coming in, and sometimes it's there, and you just need someone to point at it and say, what's happening over there? Can we improve that? Can we get things happening on a regular basis for that, which will increase your overall cash flow?
Exactly. And as a business owner, a lot of business owners see their business as not being a separate entity, but being them. So they don't really put down their boundaries. They don't have proper systems in place or processes. But if you look at your business as being a nice, well-oiled machine where things work a certain way, you have your procedures, you have your payment procedures, all of the rest of it just working in well, then it's a lot easier to see if there are any problems or chinks, how to fix them.
Okay.
And quite yeah.
What outcomes do your clients achieve after working with you? What are the key elements that they get out of it? Highlights.
Okay. Well, the first highlight is a sense of massive relief, and that's where I just you know, I get the tears. I get a lot of tears, and quite often it's because people come to me and they feel like they're just in this impossible situation, absolutely impossible. But it's generally not that case. Once you take, and this is where I suppose my life coaching comes in, once you throw everything out there, you work out what all the issues are, and then you drill down, and then you see that quite often when you fix this, all these other things tend to fall into place. It gives people the idea that yes, they can do it and things are possible. So that's probably one of the biggest things I'm able to do with people. Secondly is just getting them on track. And sometimes it's so obvious, but we don't see it ourselves. But for someone else to come in like me, just to point out that, hey, you know, I was working with someone not long ago, and you know, the first thing we did, and this is really simple, is we just did a dump of all their bank accounts and looked at where he was spending money. And you know, he was spending like $5,000 a month on going out for dinner, lunch, or you know, just being, you know, living life to the fullest for $5,000 a month spending money. So once we were able to say, okay, well look, let's try and just reduce that slightly, and start putting that money into building your superannuation, into paying down your debts, into all these other things, it was just like, that was so easy. So sometimes it's not difficult. It's quite easy.
You
Yet
and I
they
are very
don't
much
see
in the
that
same.
because they're in it.
Yeah, you and I are in very much the same industry, really. We're both making people aware of things that they don't often see themselves. They're involved and they can't
Mm-hmm.
see the way forward. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the same with creating wealth through property. People are out there, they're doing it every day, but it's having the vehicle, having the knowledge, and then the implementation strategies behind it. And it's the same with is what you're saying here from what I gather.
It is, and a very good analogy, Craig, that I use with some people is that they come to me and they're like a plane on a runway and they need to take off, but they just don't know which direction, they don't know where to go. So when they work with me, I put the lights on the runway. So they're able to then go, oh, okay, I can see where I've got to go now.
Love
And
that.
what I do is generally the first, yeah, and look, I'm generally the first step, and then of course people get to the point where they move on to people like you or other people where they can really begin to start making their money work for them.
No,
But until
that's
they sort it out, they don't get anywhere.
yes, that's excellent. So
Mm.
I was looking through, you sent me over this nice bio, Marissa, and I was looking through there, and Marissa is a vision partner for the Entourage.
Mm.
Recently featured in the Sydney Morning Herald, but it was the Elephant Journal in the USA. Tell me about that. What is the Elephant Journal?
It's a publication.
Really?
It's actually a spiritual publication. Yeah.
Okay.
It just got picked up. My article got picked up. When I say my article, I was interviewed by by a journalist from, and it was published in the Sydney Morning Herald, and then Elephant Journal picked that up, which was
Very
great.
nice.
I was wrapped.
Absolutely. So you've been very busy with your time. That's excellent. So what I can say, Marissa, to everybody is they should definitely think about your services. Now, what I'll do is we'll get all your details and we'll stick it on the end of this so everybody can gain access. But I believe you've got a special offer for people listening to this podcast.
I do. Yes.
Yes.
I've got a couple of offers.
Really? Okay.
So
wow.
The first one, well, yeah, I've got a gift. I've got the gift, which is and this is a really good, look, it's just a first start for people. It's the 21-day Money Accelerator Roadmap. So it's really just going through, it's a download, you go through your personal finances and you just look at different, it's an awareness. I think it's an awareness of where you are now and what you can do in order to cut down on your unnecessary spending, is what I say. Because I'm not big on, I don't think we should deny ourselves. We shouldn't have to live in this world of not having fun or enjoying ourselves. But the world we live in at the moment, it's very easy to spend money. And I should know because I spent quite a bit of money on eBay the other day wanting to buy a phone case that was only supposed to be like $10. I ended up spending a lot more on all these other things that I didn't really need. So I do it myself. But it's just so easy to spend money, and without looking at, okay, how much does that coffee every day cost you? Unless that's your not negotiable. So we all have not negotiables, and then you don't feel guilty about spending money on that. But really working out, what you have to cut down and what you have to increase in order to clean things up. So then you're able to start getting your lights on your runway or start being able to work with me.
I love interviewing people from Melbourne. The reason why, no matter who you talk to from Melbourne or in Melbourne, somehow they always wheedle in having a coffee. Melbourne people are just obsessed with their coffee, aren't they?
We have the best coffee. And, I was in the States a couple of years ago, and I went to a place in New York, and it was run by Melbourne people. It was actually called Collins Street. Coffee wasn't as good as here. And then I got back to the airport, and I think I had a coffee from a donut shop at the airport, and it was the best coffee I'd had in months. And this was in Melbourne. And
Well,
normally, being from Melbourne, I'm such a coffee snob. I don't drink instant coffee myself, but it shows you that even our airport Dinkin' Donut coffee is better than what you can get in most countries. But Sydney's not bad. I'm in Sydney quite often, and their coffee's quite good.
okay, well, that's good. You've tried to retrieve the other half of our audience now, so that's nice. I thought I was going to have to put a warning on the front of this podcast.
No, but look, no, Melbourne has it. Melbourne has it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So,
yes,
yep,
sorry.
Go for it.
Yes, and also with my prosperity, if people would like to chat to me about how my prosperity could help them, I have. There are certain levels of it. The very basic level is free. So you can go in and you can have a look, you can start playing around with it. You just don't have direct bank fees, but depending on what level you're at, sometimes that may not matter. And then the second level is you pay $30 a month. So once again, that's like a no-brainer, $30 a month for all the bells and whistles to help you grow your wealth.
That is, really is. People have to invest in themselves. And fortunately,
yes,
the people watching this know that they have to invest in themselves. Otherwise, they're going to be where they were a year ago. So if you're not learning and putting in new processes and procedures and learning from the experts such as yourself, then you're going to be exactly where you were a year ago. And we don't want that. Our entire lives, I'm sure I speak on your behalf with this one, Marissa, is spent trying to help people move forward, not stay where they are. So please invest in yourself.
Yeah. And it's the definition of insanity comes to my mind so often, where I think, people just continue doing the same old thing, but they expect different results, and it just doesn't happen. So, by using something different, by taking a different approach, then you do achieve different results. And sometimes it's just stepping out and doing it and asking for help. And that's probably the hardest thing sometimes. And looking at your return on investment, that you might be, you might pay someone X amount of money, but then that means that in years to come, you're saving yourself or increasing your wealth so much more. So it's not the value, it's looking at the value rather than just the individual cost of things. Like when you work with someone, what's the value they can give you? And people like you and I can give immense value to people and change people's lives. And that's,
that's the goal, isn't it? That really is the goal.
That's what it comes down to. Exactly.
When you spend that money on someone else, on a product or a training of some variety, you must take on board the learnings and then implement it. You've got to get your money back, and that's the first thing about being an investor, really, is always preserve your capital. So you've got to get your money back somehow. Well, Marissa, I want to say thank you from everybody here today. I believe, including myself, everybody's got some value out of that, some nuggets. I'm going to have to watch it again myself now, because there are a few little bits there that I just wanted to get in my head. So, yes, thank you very much, and we'll get this out to people and really look forward to working with you into the future, Marissa.
Thank you so much for having me, Craig. It's been wonderful chatting to you, and everyone else. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Marissa.